What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. This video is going to be looking at the Premier League match between Tottenham and Newcastle, and let me know in the comments below if you think this performance from Tottenham by winning by such a convincing margin by a promising Newcastle team, if this match in particular makes Tottenham top 4 favorites ahead of Arsenal in their current form and in their squad. Now, before we get into the tactics of the match, check out both my books. They're online on Amazon, and there's links in the description below. Also, check out Keyframe. It's how I'm making this video. There's a link to that in the description as well. Let's get right into the tactics. So, Tottenham built from the back using 3 central defenders. Asymmetry, seeing the left side overload with 2 central defenders in their base of build-up. On the right side, we would then see a little bit more symmetry with one of their wingbacks staying a bit deeper to then mirror the image of the left side central defender fanning into the wide area. Tottenham then went with a double pivot of Bentancur and Højbjerg to try and escape the 4-3-3 or 4-5-1 of Newcastle early on in the game, which would then shift to a back 5 to try and cover spaces being exploited from Tottenham in behind Newcastle's defense. And as we see from Newcastle here, they're pressing in their 4-3-3, pressing from out to in using cover shadows to block off access to wide players, and then using a 3-man midfield to cover the central area where the attacking midfielder or a Harry Kane would drop into, while having strong access from their central midfielders to the wide areas and having dual roles to then cover the double pivot using cover shadows and still have access to these players covering the press of Newcastle. So now as we move into the midfield third, we see Newcastle go with more of a 4-5-1 with their wingers dropping in line with the midfielders, and Tottenham going with their 3-2 build-up. Now we would see the tendencies of Højbjerg to drop deeper between central defenders and allow their left central defender to go higher up the field and create dual width on this left-hand side. But more importantly, we have strong access in both of the half spaces, and because of the spatial orientation that Newcastle take up with their midfield 5, it gives these players between the lines a large amount of space to play through and occupy. And especially with a back 4, we see Tottenham in many instances hurt Newcastle because of the ability for Harry Kane to drop into deeper areas and drag out a central defender, which would then leave space in behind for a player like Son or Kulusevski to then make advanced runs in behind and exploit a broken back 4. So this was very detrimental in the way Newcastle defended, and going with a spatial 4-5-1 gave huge amounts of opportunity for Son and Kulusevski to play in the blind spot of the midfield of Newcastle and create superiority going forward. Now we see exactly what I mean here, with Harry Kane dropping between the lines and having central defenders pulled out of position through their pressing and man orientation. Both central defenders, one has jumped to Kulusevski between the lines because of the orientation and spatial control using their cover shadows in these areas. So when the ball is played up, Kulusevski gets on the ball, and with Harry Kane dropping, it forces the central defenders to jump into midfield to create access to this player. And with Son running in behind across the field, he then operates with dynamic superiority, playing on his own half of the field, also taking advantage of the broken back 4 and making runs in behind to space for Harry Kane to play an easy forward pass in behind and break the defense. And as well, with Kulusevski arriving late, we then have loads of space in behind by Kane dropping deeper, creating a 3rd-man movement, and then having runners go beyond, exploiting this jumping defense of Newcastle. Now from Tottenham, probably what I was most impressed with was when they were building against Newcastle's low block. And because Newcastle played in a 4-5-1, which would then go to a back 4 and more of a 5-4-1 later on in the game, but early on it was a 5-4-1 with the wingers temporarily dropping deeper because of the wingbacks of Tottenham going higher. But what was impressive for Tottenham was to control the match through their possession phase and keep Newcastle pinned in their own half. So as we see a very spatially oriented low block with high levels of compactness, looking to transition through wide areas, St. Maximin using a target forward could be very dangerous for a team looking to then use positional play to create advantages, especially a team that can can be a little inconsistent in possession, but we have strong passing connections between the lines and from our first and second line of buildup into more advanced spaces. So by having such a large number of players influencing the center of the field, not only this, but their spatial occupation in their offensive lines is very well, and creating full width while having this amount of players in the center of the field makes it very hard to defend against, and is one of the reasons why Tottenham were able to pin Newcastle back for large portions of the match. And by having a 3-2 build-up, it allows the wide central defenders to be active in counter-pressing with the double pivot against the Newcastle midfielders and offer them numerical advantages when they do go and counter-press and lose possession. Now, when Newcastle were in possession, Tottenham defended in a 5-4-1 deeper, and when they would then step out, they would then play in more of a 5-2-3 when they would try and win the ball higher up the field. But coming deeper, where Tottenham are very comfortable out of possession, it was a 5-4-1 that gave Newcastle a lot of space in front of Tottenham's block and through the midfield three. It gave them a sense of security when they were in possession, but the intensity of Tottenham's press when the cues would be initiated was very high, and they were very good about isolating possession when they did try and go and win it, especially in wide areas. If our wide midfielder and our wing back would create a vertical partnership to jump, go, and press, with our wide central defender also able to jump between the lines because of the security of having three center backs, made it relatively easy to control these advanced options and limit Newcastle's threat in the final third. And now, as we mentioned earlier in the video, we saw Tottenham often drop Højbjerg, as we see here in this instance, dropping between central defenders to then create dual width in the wide area. So what this does is it creates asymmetry from one side to another, making it harder to defend against, and allows players between the lines to have more freedom because of the base occupation of these players. And by now going with a central pivot, we have an out-and-out central passing option into these diagonal half spaces, leading into the final third and being able to create many chances. So by having these players attracted to the ball, makes it easier for Tottenham to manipulate the back four of Newcastle, and especially when a midfield five has their wingers jump slightly higher up the field, creating gaps in the half spaces, it can then be very easy to exploit these half spaces via diagonal passing options. And that's where we're going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.